Gaming has been around for a long time now and has learnt many lessons along the way, but there are also some things that just haven't been fixed or continue to plague this industry. Some of the items on this list have definitely been improved in a number of areas, while some studios or designers just can't seem to implement simple features that have been fixed for generations. Welcome to Sticks Gaming, and today we're going to go over 10 things in gaming that need to change. First up at number 10, walking speeds that are different from the NPCs. In this day and age with cinematic cutscenes that show a movie-like quality and aesthetic, I cannot, for the life of me, follow another character in any kind of convincing manner. Why does my character look so majestic and awesome in a cutscene while I'm stuck flailing around like a muppet trying to make my character talk to or follow a character down a normal street or path? I blame the developers. No matter how far forward or back I pull the stick on my controller, I cannot match the speed of the person I'm following. We just have to run back and forward, running and slowing to keep up with them. It does not look good. It takes me out of the experience every time. I think I've got it bad. What about players who play with a keyboard and mouse? Most games for them are either run or walk, and maybe a sprint if they're lucky. They have no way of variably slowing or speeding up their character. This just exaggerates the problem. Please developers, just make the NPCs walk the speed the same as the character's full walk speed. Or do what Ghost of Tsushima does and have the NPC match our current speed, so we don't have to do this constant push and pull. It ruins the experience. And while I'm on the topic, please, for the love of Kratos, make conversations match the time it takes the player to get to the next checkpoint. I don't want to stop and wait by a door because I know it's going to cut off the conversation that my character is currently having. This is infuriating. Sometimes it's a 10-second walk with a 1-minute conversation. How does that work? It breaks immersion, and I cannot take this any longer. Can you tell this one is close to my heart? I'm very angry. And on to number 9, unpausable or unskippable cutscenes. It's 2022, people, and still game companies are putting in cutscenes that cannot be paused. This is another pet hate of mine. In fact, maybe I should have titled this video my top 10 pet hates in video games. Nevertheless, why on earth is this such a hard thing to put in every single game? Make every cutscene skippable and make them all pausable. I don't think pausable or unskippable are even words, but I don't care. They should be words in the developers' dictionaries that they should refer to before ever putting a game out to the public. Life happens. Sometimes mid-cutscene, you may need to help around the house or answer the door, or your mum calls you for dinner. Not me though, I don't live in my mum's basement. Honestly, my parents' house doesn't even have a basement. It's an attic. And yes, it's very nice up here, thanks for asking. You need to pause the cutscene so you don't miss any of the important story elements. Some games just cut out of the cutscene if you press the pause button. Others do nothing at all. Life doesn't stop for your game, but your game should stop for your life. On the other hand, maybe it's the 5th time you've played through this game, and you don't want to sit through a 10-minute cutscene for the 5th time. Let us skip them. Sure, information might be lost, but that should be up to us. Also, if you're a dev who puts a checkpoint before the cutscene and not after it, you are a bad person, especially if the cutscene is unskippable. Now on to number 8, level scaling. Level scaling is a feature that no matter how much you level up, your enemies will just level up to your level. I find this very, very annoying as it makes over-leveling not worth it and makes leveling up feel empty and pointless. Usually you need to be a certain level to take on a specific mission in the game, which is fine, that makes sense, but if I'm over-leveled, don't just make the enemies or the boss level to my level. That's a lot of levels in one sentence. Make it mean something, that I've spent time away from the main story getting stronger. At least have this be a feature you can turn on and off. I'm not sure how to fix this in gaming, as being very over-leveled and breezing through the game feels bad also, but that's not my job to fix. My job is to be cynical and miserable about everything and let someone else fix it. Right? Right? So if I level up but so do the enemies, I'm not really gaining anything. By leveling up, I gain 10 more damage against enemies and they gain 10 more defense. So I'm just dealing the same percentage damage I did before my pointless level up. So please fix this. I don't know how, but it has to change. Alright, here we go. Number 7, the console wars / exclusives. You know who wants the console wars to never end? The console developers. Much like the Android versus Apple crowd, the only people who win the console wars are the companies themselves. Not us the consumer, that's for sure. We fuel a fire that makes these companies able to charge us more and more for their products such as games and the hardware itself. If someone likes Xbox or PlayStation more, then let them. It doesn't affect you. I think this goes for everything in life. If something's not hurting you or others, then let someone find happiness in whatever they please. You telling them they should have brought the other console for X, Y, and Z reason isn't making them or you any happier, and it sure isn't accomplishing anything worth pursuing. Plus, PC is the best way to game and you're all wrong for buying consoles anyway. This is a joke, by the way, for that one person down in the comments section right now typing that I'm a hypocrite. Calm down. Console exclusives is another thing where we lose. It's not a good thing to have these games only come out on one console. It means less people get to enjoy the game, it means the company can charge more for it because it's only available in one place, and it just leads to us shelling out more cash. We should be fighting against exclusives, not claiming how one exclusives are better than the others. We should be asking for these on all platforms for all players. None of us wins in the console wars, and we should stop being so happy to contribute to them. And number 6, games releasing too early or completely bug-filled messes. Now luckily I got to play the one version of Cyberpunk 2077 that wasn't a complete dumpster fire. I mean, it still was far from perfect, but why was the game released like this in the first place? Nowadays, when a game gets delayed, I am actually happy to see that they are giving it the time in the oven that it needs to release in a cohesive, worthwhile state. Games are released filled with bugs and glitches, and sometimes even completely broken, for it's awaiting customers who have paid a lot of money for a basically broken product. In this age of day one patches, companies are releasing more and more broken games that usually never recover from these disastrous launches. But why is this happening? It usually comes down to greed. Greed from investors or higher ups at companies making terrible decisions that were designed to fill their pockets but often end up emptying them. In Cyberpunk's case, the higher ups were told that the game wasn't ready, but they wanted that sweet, sweet moolah. So the game was released in a completely broken state, so broken that PlayStation even took it off the store until they decided it was worthwhile selling. Game companies need to go back to making sure their products ship with a working game instead of weeks or even years of patching to fix the mess they made. When will these big wigs learn? Even after the disaster of Cyberpunk, games are still releasing in crazily broken states, leading to the complete evaporation of their player bases. Come on guys, it's not that hard. Okay, time for a serious one guys. Number 5, studio culture, grind, harassment and abuse. Okay, so studio heads and CEOs can't catch a break on this list. I'm sorry, but so many of the problems in gaming are down to you. I've come to the conclusion that if a CEO of a large company says something, they're not saying it out of the goodness of their heart, it's only ever to save face to make sure they can continue selling games to us. Studio culture needs a huge revamp in many of these big companies. Firstly, grinding out the last few months of a production to meet a deadline, working your employees to the bone, overtime upon overtime for the people making these games, where you give yourself a pay rise and pat yourself on the back. No, work is not life. It is a part of life. Your employees shouldn't be staying late to finish a game, not going home to their families. You should be managing the project better, or in some cases just pushing the release date back. Developers are people. They shouldn't be treated as workhorses for you to work into the ground. Moving on from that to the terrible workplace harassment and abuse of usually female employees. Yeah, this is super cringe. How are we still having to tell people this isn't okay? There have been so many stories from so many companies about this over the last 5 years. Promises from company heads that they are fixing it, only to find years later that nothing has changed and it was all publicity. The members of staff who committed the abuse and managers of teams who let these things happen still employed by these companies. Culture in these studios needs to change, and it needs to do it now. Number 4 is all about horses or mounts slowing down in certain places. This is the item that inspired this list. I was recently replaying Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and if I was anywhere near a town or city, my horse would slow down to a crawl. Even if I was outside the city, in a field, I would get slowed down. Now Odyssey is a huge game. There is a lot of riding around the world from point to point. It's already a little bit of a chore without you making it that much more annoying. Just let me choose the speed of my horse. Give me more control over my mount. Don't just slow it down. I know I need to go slower in towns or cities to avoid smashing into things. So let me make that choice when I want and need to. I don't need to be trotting along in a large open field outside a city or in wide open areas within cities and you just slowing me down. Just give me more control and stop holding my hand with every little thing. Please and thank you. Sincerely, Sticks. Down at number 3 guys, we have copycat designs. Every time there is a mega hit, Fortnite, Call of Duty, League of Legends, about 1 million copies come out trying to piggyback off the success of other games. It rarely works out. How many battle royales have we had come and go since Fortnite hit it big? So many. Only a few have actually been a success and come from already established studios. Even if it is successful, it's bad for the video game industry as a whole. It halts innovation and progress, giving us similar experiences each time that we're thinner by the day. We want new games with new mechanics and new ideas. This chasing of other people's ideas is getting very boring and stopping these devs and companies from making better games that could change the gaming space as a whole. Stagnating an industry that should always be looking forward to the future instead of to the past victories of other games, following trends instead of creating them. Ubisoft is an example of this. Someone who used to be an industry leader of creating new ideas and cool new games. Now they create games copying and cashing in on the successful ideas of other games, or just copying themselves over and over and over again. The biggest problem in gaming, my friends. Number 2, microtransactions, price hikes, and time savers. Ooh, the big one. The one no one likes and everyone wants to slice to pieces with a very expensive sword it took 400 loot boxes to gain. Microtransactions can be a part of a game and not completely ruin the game for people who don't want to spend more money after paying full price for a game in the first place. However, in most cases, games are designed in a way that pushes its players towards purchasing these items, purposefully making the games grindy or the progression difficult in order to sell time savers, XP boosters, or in some cases OP gear that trivializes the game entirely. Let's be completely honest here. In a full-priced game, microtransactions should just not exist. Stop milking us for all we have. Just sell us a decent game and leave it at that. Now in free-to-play games, I think this kind of stuff is just too expensive. When you think about what you're receiving for hard-earned cash, I also think that alternative currencies should be banned. It should be an actual currency you will be spending in the game, not some arbitrary coin that the company made up to hide how much their products, if you can call them that, really cost. One last thing on this topic, why are game prices going up across the board? Gaming companies have been posting their highest ever profits over the last few years. Gaming is more profitable than it ever was, and yet they are charging us more for games. Please, game industry, can we start making products we care about and are passionate for, instead of stores disguised as games? And number 1, thousands of pointless collectibles. You probably understand the kinds of games I play most by the contents of this list, but man oh man, they gotta stop adding these pointless collectibles to these massive worlds. Sure, I think collectibles are a cool thing, especially ones that you have clues that you need to work out, or a trial you must do in order to collect things, but 100 feathers randomly placed throughout a world with no reason to find them other than to tick them off a list? No thanks. At least have some kind of reward for these collectibles. I mean, look at what Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did to its poor completionists. Gave them a golden poop for finding all 900 Korok seeds. Come on now, that's just mean. At least give them a golden shower as well.
What?
Subscribe please so I can pay my electricity bill this month. Oh yeah, and check out these other videos, that'd really help me out.